Hello. So I'm back. Um, it's like so. Hmm. uh, Um. Even my targeted life. Some people think, oh, you tell y'all. No, there's some things I have not talked about, or that I don't talk about. You know, but the former roommate Janet. I wonder if I don't know. You know. So yeah, she told me a while back. Yeah, it was Thursday, May 14th. Yeah, that she texted me, but she hadn't texted me since, like, she hadn't talked to me since like May 6th or 7th or something. And then, so, yeah, I think I told about the cottage incident, that me and another targeted individual were talking about the cottage. And then, uh, then she so happened to text me and say, well, hey, saw this online, thought about you, about the cottage. Now, and I didn't know until I talked to the other target individual, and she's like, well, hey, well, since me and the other targeted lady were talking about it, and so then, um, Janet, the next morning she texted me about, the cottage, and so then, the targeted lady was like, "Well, you think that you think they told her to send you that? Because it's like, wow, what a coincidence that me and you were just talking about the cottage, and then the next day in the morning, Janet texts me. Wait a minute. Yeah, at exactly 11 o'clock in the morning, exactly 11 o'clock in the morning, May 14th, and told me, hey, saw this online, thought about you." Then I said, thanks for this. It's right by that farmer's market that we went to by the storage unit. And I said, I found my storage unit key. How have you and your son been feeling lately? Then she said, that's good. We're doing way better. TJ never had any symptoms, but I I feel just about back to normal. We're going to retest next week. And then I said, okay. I said, that's good that you're feeling better. Well, she never told me the results about the retest or nothing, because her plan was that, if she thought I was going to take the coronavirus test thing, then she said after a couple of weeks, then I could come back over there. I said, but I ain't taking the test. So then, so it's like, she said yes. So then yesterday at 3:36 p.m., um, she said, "Hey, Candy, just letting you know I moved back home to Miami last week. Yeah, it's not her ex-husband. They're still married, but they're just separated. But she lied to everybody. Said that's one of the so-called fibs and white lies she'll tell. She said my ex-husband took the car and I had no other option. I mean, I know she miss her family and stuff. Well, I don't have a right to miss my family and want to go back. If I go back, I have to hear lectures about putting my hand back in the fire or deserving to be abused. But since she's not being abused by her family, it's right for her to go down there. But I'll be stupid if I try to go to Texas by my twin sister. My own twin sister is evil enough that she'll try to file a restraining order on me, and the gay brother Mark would too. You know, but I mean, I'm not gonna go do that since I know they're perping me and I know I'm targeted and I don't want any further abuse. So when Janet said that, it was Yep, Sunday, yesterday at 3:36 p.m. So I said, "Oh man, what happened to the food?" You know, and so she told me what happened with the food, and you know, she said that she took the food, you know, and, and the boyfriend took the food in the cat in the fridge, and the neighbors got some stuff too. That was food I couldn't take with me that I wish she would have told me, and I wouldn't have spent my money on. I mean, I just doggone. Maybe it was my fault for getting comfortable there, you know. And Janet led me on to think that she was such a nice person and a good person, and she made it like she needed me for like an indefinite amount of time because like I came there on a Friday, but by the third time there, I mean the third day there, that Sunday, she was it that Thursday? I mean that Sunday or that Monday that she asked me about if I wanted to watch her son or babysit her son if she were to go back to work or something like that. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But that was before I found out how disrespectful he was, you know. But TJ is just a nickname now. So a nickname or a short name. I mean, he's a kid, but I wasn't gonna outright say his real name. I accidentally slipped and said that because I was reading. I'm like, oop, I wasn't supposed to say his name, but the perps know his name anyway. You know, I wasn't. I did not mean to do that. I wasn't, trying to do it on purpose. But so um, her boyfriend got the food, the refrigerated food, and I'm sitting here saying I don't want the food to go to waste, but I couldn't use the food because I don't have my fridge. Ain't the fridge here is not big enough, and I don't have anything to cook. I mean, except microwave stuff, but you can't microwave spaghetti. I mean, unless it's already cooked. So I mean, I just felt bad that I lost out on so much. I mean, all that food because I thought I was gonna stay there, at least for another month. And so, and that was, I mean, y'all had confirmed it for me that Janet really was perping me. So now all of a sudden she like moved last week back to Miami. The perps knew I was in Miami too before I even said it on video. They followed us to Miami. Excuse me. Um, did I mention it to y'all about how we got pulled over? It seemed like she was just super excited with this trip, with that trip though. And I feel like if like I know she was all excited to go, and it might have been just a setup the whole like all the way along, you know. So I never would have thought it was her, you know. So I mean, I would have never would have thought she would have been a perp, but her son damn sure act like a perp. So um, I don't know. It's like I told myself, and I felt like if it weren't for that trip, I mean, I was glad to see Miami and glad to shop at Trader Joe's and Whole Foods, and Aldi's. But I didn't spend all that much money. I mean, on the groceries and supplement, mainly groceries, but a few little supplements. I think I remember I spent like $300 something. But some of that food is eaten. You know, my Trader Joe's and Whole Foods food, I kept the majority of that. And all these stuff. But I still got a little bit. You know, but all that cereal gone. Um, all those Pop Tarts gone. I don't even eat Pop Tarts really. I don't like Pop Tarts. But I like the Trader Joe's brand. You know, um, but it's I mean, it's like I mean, I just thought I was gonna stay there until at least June. At least June, but I didn't. She made it like she was under the impression of, I mean, under the pressure of other people, you know, to try to, make me take the test, you know, and I think my immune system had been low because of my sleep deprivation or lack of sleep. Because, like, was it Friday night? I had like hard and heavy congestion in my um in my throat and chest, and then slept good that night for whatever reason, and then I woke up and I woke up, everything was clear. So yeah, I heard that the gang stalking and the perping is surrounded. I mean, it's centered around a coronavirus thing too, with the perps coughing on me on purpose and stuff like that. And Janet, I showed her all the proof, and she made like, yeah, yeah, I agree with you, yeah, whatever, But she was secretly tuning me out. Well, her words say that I'm listening to you, I agree with you, but her actions show that, she was tuning me out. Cause her boyfriend Tim kind of acted like he was perping me. He hardly was over there, but when he did come over there, he acted like he was perping me too. you know. Um. So that, like, Janet was all cool and everything, except she laughed when I told her, when I said that, I pointed out to her what kind of car my younger brother drives, the SUV, the white Dodge Journey. And I said, yeah, he doesn't deserve to drive, something so nice and new or whatever. And she's ignorantly laughing like, that's not your place. That's not your place. Only God can decide. Well, according to her, I don't deserve a roof over my head because I won't take that test. So only God can decide. So, you know, I guess between three people, you'll be amazed at how much money can be spent on food. And me trying to just be a good roommate and try to be a good friend too towards her, because she never outright said we're friends, but I thought we might have been considered friends. But that really irritated me and got underneath my skin about her saying it's not my place to say that my brother doesn't deserve to drive a nice car or whatever. But she even makes excuses for and defends her narcissistic, controlling, abusive husband, as she calls him her ex-husband. I mean, I'm not trying to tell all her business or whatever, but if he's controlling her and has a problem with her being with the new guy, Tim, but then he got a different girl that he claimed was just friends. He got her pregnant, and I'm not just telling Janet's business, but I'm just trying to make a point here that if he's that abusive towards her, and now he took the car, the car that he was letting her use, he took it back, and just been like super jealous and becoming like more jealous by the day. And it seemed like Janet, when he would be abusive to her, Janet pretty much wouldn't really defend herself. Like, she just sit there and just tolerate it and just take the abuse. And she told me that her son, the dad, whatever, put stuff in the boy's head about her, more like what to think about her and how to treat her. And narcissistic dad uses the children against the mother or vice versa. And like the fact that the boy tested positive, maybe he threatened her in a way that she must have feared for her life, because he was threatening her as that day that that she made me leave. Excuse me. It's like he was threatening her and threatened to because the boy tested positive. We all know it's fake anyway. The boy tested positive along with her, for the coronavirus thing. And so he was threatening her and threatening to have her reported for, he was threatening to have her reported, for neglect or something like that, a medical neglect or something. And he was threatening to beat her ass, and he threatened to whip her ass like a couple of days after that guy threatened to have his friends whip my ass. And then when I came here, I haven't heard from that troublesome couple, ever since the lady said, "Oh, you punch me in the back, you're going to jail." So when he threatened to whip her ass, I'm like, what the fuck is this issue with men threatening to whip women's ass during this coronavirus thing? Him threatening to whip her ass and them fighting. I don't know if that was directed conversation after what the perp did to me. I don't know. And that's when Janet was on the phone, like shortly before, like as we were packing house stuff and like, during that, moment that I was taking my stuff downstairs and Janet was like, "You're not my father," on the phone or whatever, because the guy was her husband or whatever was threatening her on the phone, and he threatens off the new guy Tim. But like I felt like when I was there, Tim kind of like played psych games, and I call it playing psych games, but some people say gaslighting. And Tim, he delusionally believes he's a thug, and he act like he's one moment he seems like he's cool and chill, but he seems like the type of person that that I would have thought that even though Tim is smaller than the other guy, he's like, um Tim seemed like the type of person that he wouldn't be scared, like he wouldn't fear no other nigga. That's the type of person he would be like. So I'm like, how could Tim, with the personality that he has, how could he be scared of that other guy? So, um, so I had like when we went to Tim's family member's house for Easter, like what the hell? All they gave us was like what the hell kind of. I'm not celebrating Easter anymore, but me going out of respect for just Janet asked me to go, and plus I just want an excuse to get out of town. So like I'm like, what the hell? Like all they had was just chicken, like just but like some kind of wood fired barbecue chicken. And Janet's son was perping me and smacking his food on purpose, and then give me a certain look. like smack his food on purpose just to get me to react and get mad, and then get mad at me for looking back at him. Like an 8-year-old child act like he think he could like have so much control over me and rulership over me and think he got authority over me, and so you know I'm wondering how the hell did Janet get into the police force with her kind of personality if she made it. I mean, it seemed like as if she's easy pushover too. Usually I'm like, well, how are you in the police? I mean, she's not a police officer now, but I saw the certificate now, so she ain't lying. And so, you know, if how um if she seemed like the type of person who like people say I'm easy pushover, so if they feel like she's easy pushover, I'm like, how the hell? Like I thought being in the police force, I thought you had to be like tough, you know. But it's like when we were down by Janet's we were down by Janet's boyfriend's house, and I said, well, oh, I didn't know you were a disabled veteran. And he kind of played psych games about that. He said that he wasn't, but that's his car now. But he tried to play psychological games. I mean, I wasn't trying to be nosy on his business or anything. But I'm like, I didn't know you were in the military. So because he has a disabled veteran's license plate. you know, so in a couple of other instances where Tim had perked me, but Tim would do like when he gets at the house, he has every habit I hate. Smacking his food, blaring loud music on loud TV. Everything with him has to be just loud and ignorant, you know. But he talks like he's woke to the truth though. But he talks like he's woke to the truth, you know. So it's like, oh yeah, back to, I know I'm sorry I'm kind of jumping around. Yeah, Janet told me that with her son, um that when she takes him over to his dad's house and then bring him back over to her house, and she said she has to like reprogram his mind all over again. But she sit there and let her son talk to her the same way that she talked to her. I mean, the same way that he talked to his own dad. But I was the bad person for when I stood up to that boy each and every time too. Like I'm supposed to let an 8-year-old child, especially that's not my child, try to handle me, you know, and be disrespectful and abusive. You ain't gonna talk to me like that, you know. I wouldn't even let the 8-year-olds in the family talk to me like that, you know. Um, but I've been told all my life that I'm stupid for quote unquote allowing my family to, fuck over me, you know. But Janet acting like she was scared of her 8-year-old son. Janet was tall, like at least 5'10", you know, and her son is 8 and a big ass. He's so big at 8 years old. I would have thought he was 12. He tried to act like he think he's a grown ass man, you know. And that one time she lost her temper. She had lost her temper, and like the day before as it was that moment we left Miami, and she got mad and grabbed her son, and she was like driving on the road, and she kept looking back, and I'm like, shit, I was scared because I'm like, Jen, like panicking because I thought that we were gonna get into a car accident because she kept looking back instead of looking at the front, and it's like she grabbed him, and because me and him were talking about her brother getting shot and killed, having that conversation about her brother getting shot and killed, and then that guy getting shot and killed. That guy got that was supposedly her mom's cousin, the way she put it, her mom's cousin, when they had that street theater incident. And speaking of that situation, Janet never brought that subject. She never brought it up talking to me. She never brought it up. She never brought it up again. So then, after that situation, I mean, she lost her. That was the first time because I kept telling her, why don't you tell this boy something? Why don't you? I mean, I ain't expecting you to. I mean, beat him or nothing, but she just tell him something. But she lost her temper on him in a way that it scared me. But at the same time, I think she was just acting. And then she actually pulled off, like she got off the interstate and almost immediately pulled on the side of the road and put on her emergency flashes to quote unquote handle him. And she like had that boy like scared, like she acted like she was gonna hit him or give him a damn good beating or something. But she ended up just talking to him and asked him about me. Now, what if she put her hands on you, or what if she beat the fuck out your ass? Something she said, I don't remember. But you know, the boy got out of hand. She said that one time the boy disrespected Tim in a way that Tim just got offended and left. You know, but it's like, he was kind of scared. Like he was afraid that, and then next thing you know, they got back in the car, and then he started fake crying or whatever, and then she started to baby him and start to rub him, saying, "You're not in trouble, you're not punished." I'm like, what the fuck is this then? I didn't tell her that, but I'm thinking in my head like she's doing all this in front of me, but that's how she do. Like her abusive husband and her son can do no wrong. She even admitted that she has like mercy, compassion, and mercy. That she's merciful towards narcissistic people, abusive people. But the one time if I do something offensive to her, I will never be forgiven. So then a couple of days, like he went by his dad for 3 days after sometime like the week after the trip, and then came back, and then I lost my it was a couple of days. Yeah, it was the week after the trip, and I had enough for him, and I went off on him. I didn't put my hands on him. I'm not gonna put my hands on somebody else's kid, but I got mad and I got in his face and yelled at him. And the boy had no fear of me and did not flinch at all. And Janet pretended to fake like she sent him to his room. 10 minutes later, he was back out of his room and doing whatever. And then he was like verbally abusive to his own mom and talked shit to her too. I mean, she claimed to be woke to the truth, but she had that boy taking Prozac. I mean, she allowed him to take Prozac, but she according to her, he only takes it on the days he has to go to school, but he wasn't taking the Prozac at that time. But I'm pretty sure that the medicine was still in his system. The doctors I heard lie about how the medicine is no longer in your system after a certain time, So I know that the first 30 minutes of this video had nothing to do with, I kind of got off topic of what I really was going to talk about, So I was continuing on. I know I got into talking about, the food that I had to leave behind and stuff like that. And then I went back and, so I got my confirmation that Janet is a perp. That, she just fled to Miami. I mean, fled back to Miami. I mean, she had the right to do that, Go ahead and go back home. I know you were homesick and missing home. and fleeing abuse, But I mean, it's like more and more, like more dots have been connected, but I'm still trying to figure out certain things. But I have my confirmation that she was a perp, So what else like that morning, like she had us leave. It was like 4:27 a.m. And so that's when she, took off for the trip. Then around almost like 5 something, almost 6 o'clock, we went to the rest stop and she took like a 30-minute break and was snoring and stuff. Like she was just excited to go on this trip. Plus her mom was rushing her to get down there. And so then she was shocked because the state trooper had pulled her over. We had just left, like we were out of Pensacola, but I don't remember what city that was we were in, but it was before we got to Tallahassee. And they gang stalked me in Tallahassee they perked me at Waffle House. You know, I've been like they have a Waffle House right next to the Denny's, but I've been too scared to go there because afraid of being perked again. So, and I've been feeling like I want some grits lately. But grits is not my favorite food, but I like grits though. But the perps want it to be my favorite food. So it's like when the police pulled Janet over, she thought that because she was a former police officer, she thought that she was gonna, be let off, and she felt like it's like as if she felt betrayed by the police because she thought she was gonna get let off because she was a cop too. But I didn't notice him or her. But Janet would talk to me and throw up Masonic hand or satanic hand signs. Um, and she was doing it especially that day, that morning, that day. And that was that day that later on she was like, "There's a kid in the car," being all self righteous and shit, you know. But trying to handle me, and I'm 36 and she's 31. I'm 5 years older than you know. So it's like you talk to me like I lack common sense. As I said, with the hypocrisy is her own boyfriend or her own brothers can play that same kind of music or music just as vulgar, and she would just sit there and be quiet. But she thinks she can handle me, and talk to me like I ought to have better sense than to play something like that. Play something. I was just trying to, goof off and show her a New Orleans song, but I didn't realize how vulgar it was. But she can allow her son to be a fan of The Weeknd and stuff like that. And he would blare loud music on his phone that, was satanic and she didn't say nothing. But because I played a song, a New Orleans local song, she had a problem with that. So, she didn't start tripping on me or acting like a perp until that trip and only on that trip. But even before then, I was wondering and kind of confused. I felt kind of gaslighted or gaslit that she would use her hand signs like this. Instead of pointing like this, she would point like this. Or she would use like she would say three. And a lot of people who you think they're cool with you and talking to you and having a conversation, they say 3 times rather than 3 times. You know. So she would do stuff like that. But she was using a lot of freaking hand signals that day. Like after it wasn't until after. And I don't know if she was trying to mock me. Well, I guess she really was sleep deprived too. But she was determined to drive almost non-stop for hours. And even like I was concerned and worried because I know how it is with the sleep deprivation. She didn't get much, really no sleep, very little sleep. And she blamed her sleep deprivation or not being that alert and being sleep deprived, and she was speeding like I think she was going up to 94, and then she toned it down to like the police officer said that she was going 89 into 70, but he said I'm gonna put you down, I'm gonna dock you off and say 79 instead of 89. He docked her off a few points, and then she started to like he charged her, he cited her, gave her a $131 citation, and she said all that those she said she'd been driving since she was 12. And to me, she was one of those kind of drivers that on the highway I didn't feel all that safe, and she just drove how she wanted. Like she broke a lot of road rules. I mean, and like did certain driving moves that were illegal. Even with the daily driving, like park somewhere, like park illegally, or just she ain't like far from the perfect driver to say that she's been driving since she was 12, and meant that she said that she may have gotten a warning when she was like 21 years old, but never got a ticket until she said that was her first ticket. But she would do stuff like drive with no hands on the wheel for extended periods of time and had me like, scared, like, and I'm like, why you keep doing that? And also she would or like have both hands looking down, like my cousin who Rebecca would do, like drive on an interstate, your phone, you looking down at your phone, and it's like I'm getting all scared because um so she acted ever since after she got the ticket, she started to act narcissistic and act like a perp throughout the whole trip. And then like as if she thought she was the shit because she rented that Malibu. And then after she turned the Malibu in, that's when she humbled herself and started to act, back to normal, driving that Lincoln Town car, that old, it wasn't raggedy, but it was kind of older, Lincoln Town car, and that's the car that her husband had confiscated. So I'm gonna have to give this a different title because this is not part two, really, of what I was talking about. But I'm gonna get to part two. I'm gonna just do some more talking until my clothes are dry. You know, and so it's like, yeah, she said that I'm gonna say all the mistakes she makes driving, and she never really get pulled. And narcissistic abusers, yeah, they drive all kinds of wrong and speed. Well, she didn't speed on a regular daily rides, but she took that car, that Lincoln. She took that car somewhere every day, like it really belonged to her. But I guess they said when you marry, what's yours is mine, what's mine is yours. But that guy, he confiscated the car, and so it's like it's like so you know I didn't notice any hand signs when she got pulled over. Um, you know, but she was disappointed that she thought she was gonna get let off the hook because she was a former cop too. And well, she's still supposedly in the police force, but doesn't have a job with them. She has a job, as a teacher's assistant or something. But, you know, she cried, you know, and so she said that really woke her up, after, like she wasn't all the way alert or whatever. But I was too sleep deprived to drive also. Would drive on the highway. But that night after the street theater incident, I finally was able to get some sleep. And I said, well, hey, I was able to get some sleep. And I think she, psychologically and mentally played with me about the driving. But as I said, when I got to drive that a little bit, she was gonna let me drive the Malibu, and I think that the perps sent some energy, or somebody sent some energy weapons to cause my right leg. I got 3 hours of sleep the night before that, but I think somebody caused used the energy weapons to cause my leg to uncontrollably shake the whole time I drove, and I just drove around the parking lot, you know, and I thought it was just me being too nervous, but I think they sent the energy weapons to, like, if she was gonna let me drive, she offered, and was all excited, and that was before the perps had coughed on me at Walmart, you know. But then once I got out of the car, the mile, and that was kind of, it still had the new car smell and had like 4,000 miles on it, but it was on a day that I don't like. I have a thing with numbers. Now, I didn't want to drive on the 16th, but I would like to drive on, and so that made me mad that I didn't get to drive on a day of numbers that I like. But she made like a last minute rushing decision, to just excitedly take us down to Miami. I mean, but I felt like if I didn't go to Miami, more of my coronavirus money could have been saved, you know. So I at first intended on not spending any of it, that check, but you know, um, I ended up because I thought I was gonna be able to stay there, for a while. I mean, she was even asking me to move to Miami with her, and I said, I'll think about it, but you know, so that's stuff like that is what made me think we were friends, and so it's like, so with the police thing, he cited her $131 and said she had to go to court in 6 months or whatever. And so, but he gave her, some slack. But she said, well, I'm surprised he didn't pull it up in the system that, she said, I'm surprised he didn't pull it up in the system of me being a police officer. I probably could have been let off for free or something like that, she said. And like that Sunday, which was a couple of days after that street theater incident, I was taking a shower, and I kept on having these repetitive, unwanted thoughts about her being the type of person to be part of the Order of the Eastern Star. And those thoughts just kept nagging my conscience, nagging my mind. But she never, I haven't saw anything Masonic around her house, um, or any Masonic hand signals or anything like that, And I didn't even know if her family, well, I mean, her mom is Haitian, but her dad is American, you know. But with the pattern of abuse, I mean, her dad supposedly used to physically abuse and beat on her mom, you know. But her mom seems like the type of person who would have had the personality that she wouldn't take no shit off, wouldn't take any shit off a nigga, beating her ass. She seemed like the type of person who, I mean, she was big, like the type of person who would have whipped a man's ass. She had that size of a type of person who would have whipped a man's ass. So, at Janet's sister's house, remember I told you about the super loose toilet? Well, I thought her sister's apartment complex, everything seemed so nice and everything, but Janet's toilet and her sister's toilet, it's like was very like super loose, like very loose. Remember I told you about mostly everywhere I go the toilets will be loose, So the loose toilets. And so, I'm sorry I keep, rambling, like going back and forth. Like my mind is just scattered. Forgive me, I've been sleep deprived still. So, and plus I'm getting kind of nervous because it's about that time for my clothes um in the dryer. So I'm gonna have to be gone, getting gone soon. But my what I wanted to finish saying was, you know, I'm sorry I keep repeating myself because I'm kind of nervous, you know. Um, so after you know, Janet turned the car in. I mean, I'm sorry, not that part. After she got her ticket and stuff, she thought she was gonna get let off. And then later on that night, like right immediately after the street theater incident, I think I mentioned about how she would drive one direction and then the police tell us go the opposite way. Then they tell us go the opposite way. And then like we just said that, well, they just told us to, like as if they kept playing games with us about which way to go. Like, and I started to wonder if Janet herself was being gang stalked. But then so then she felt upset, and I'm like, damn, today is just not your day with police officers, huh? We left at we got in the car and she pulled off, and we left at exactly 11:33 p.m. Exactly 11:33 p.m. at that night. And then I think by the time we got back or whatever, I think it was like exactly 12:33 or something like that, like in the middle of the night. I don't remember, but she said that that police officer that night with the street theater incident was rude to her and got an attitude with her too. But a lot of other targeted individuals said that she herself was the one who set me up. Like, since she was a police officer, that she set me up and staged that street theater incident, which had me afraid. Because that on that one block, it looked like, I mean, I saw something in me just didn't feel safe there. Like a whole bunch of black people that seemed intimidating, scary, and gangster. Not civilized black people, but I knew they were hood, ignorant, and ghetto. And I just had this feeling like I didn't feel safe or comfortable. And I would have thought Janet was too peaceful for something like that. She didn't seem, she was like she was half Haitian, but she was one black person that you know wouldn't wasn't really gangster or ghetto or anything. I would have thought that she was one of the civilized black people, but she kept telling me, because I was sleep deprived, and she laughed and told me I looked drunk. Right after she told me I looked drunk, and then she asked us, we both were negotiating, talking about being ready to leave. And right after, that's when they had these drunk troublemakers come up in there, and shucks, I don't endorse the social distancing thing, but wasn't no social distancing going on up in there. crowded, like thousands of people. I don't know about thousands, but at least hundreds, lots of people on that block, and people were parking by the neighbors. Parking and the neighbors of the house, like their next door neighbors all over the place, you know. And then when I went to that house, the toilet seat was like Janet's mom's toilet seat was shitty and dirty, but it wasn't super loose. But then later on that night, that at that house, the toilet seat was super dirty and pissy and shitty with all kinds of just gross. And Janet swore up and down that her son, he was the only child there, but he never did it at the house. At our house place, where she was staying at. But I was wondering, well, what grown adult would have shit on two different toilet seats, And then, so was forced to hold my pee in. Then, right? I couldn't even, sit on that toilet. That toilet seat did no justice for me to try to clean it off. And the toilet was super loose. So, I gotta go get my clothes. And I gotta go get my clothes, and I'll be back. And I gotta eat dinner too, so I'm hungry. So I see y'all. Bye.